Hey, welcome to episode 6 of Life After 55. Here we keep it honest, faith centered, and practical. I'm Roy, and I may not have sleep problems myself, but I know a lot of folks do, and I'm here to help. If you're over 55 and looking for natural ways to feel better, live with more clarity, and grow in faith, you're in the right place. In our last episode, we talked about stress and anxiety and how they affect everything from your heart to your mood to your digestion. If you haven't seen that one yet, I'd really encourage you to go back and give it a watch. Because for many of us, sleep problems start with stress. But today, we're going to dig a little deeper into the problem of sleepless nights, and more importantly, what we can do about them. So, if you're struggling with insomnia, shallow sleep, or just can't seem to fall asleep and stay asleep, stay with me. All right, I'm sure we can all relate to, well, not everybody, but I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this one. It's 2:47 a.m. You've tossed and turned. You've prayed. You've adjusted your pillow 5 different ways, and maybe even tried warm milk, counting sheep, or YouTube meditations, and you're still wide awake. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, there's help. First things first, let's talk about what's really going on when we can't fall asleep. Insomnia isn't always the root problem. It's often a symptom of something else. Common causes for those of us who are over 55 include chronic stress or anxiety. And again, if you haven't watched the episode 5 of Life After 55, you should watch it because we talked exclusively about stress and anxiety in that one. And that ties in with this here. But anyways, again, some of the causes of sleepless nights are chronic stress or anxiety, hormone changes like menopause or low testosterone, poor sleep hygiene, which essentially is irregular bedtimes. You're looking at your phone at night because phones, TVs, whatever, they all put out a blue light, and that blue light fools your brain into thinking that it's still daytime. And if you are doing that at night, you should try to at least turn them off an hour before you go to sleep. That way you start unwinding a little bit, and we'll get into that a little deeper further into the episode. But anyways, another thing that causes sleep or can be a cause of sleepless nights is diet and stimulant use. By that I mean caffeine, sugar, alcohol. Those are things to stay away from, or at least in moderation, and definitely not, an hour before you go to sleep. In other words, knock it off before you go to sleep, an hour before you go to sleep. The goal here is to take a step back and to look at the big picture, not just to cover up the symptoms. Okay? And there are natural remedies and supplements that will help with this. So let's take a look at some natural sleep aids that will work with your body. All right. The first thing is valerian root. This is the root of a flowering plant that's been used for centuries as a natural sedative. It increases GABA, or GABA, which is a naturally occurring amino acid in the brain that acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter. It plays a crucial role in regulating nerve activity, essentially slowing down or blocking certain brain signals to promote relaxation and reduce anxiety. Low GABA levels are linked to conditions like anxiety, insomnia, and mood disorders. Now, the recommended dose would be 300 to 600 milligrams about an hour before bedtime. And those, you can get valerian root in capsules. You can get it in a tea. It's already ground up and put into a tea bag, but it has a very strong smell, an earthy smell. And don't let that put you off. It does work for a lot of people. Okay. The next thing is passionflower, and that comes from the leaves, stems, and flowers of a vine plant. That helps to calm racing thoughts and mild anxiety. The recommended dose for that would be 250 to 500 milligrams, or 1 cup of tea steeped 5 to 10 minutes. And the same, with the valerian root, if you're going to do it in tea, the same goes for that. A cup of tea an hour or so before bed. Let it steep for 5 or 10 minutes and then drink it. And then, of course, there's lemon balm, which is a lemon scented herb in the mint family. It's great for tension, indigestion, and for sleep. And the dose there would be, or the recommended dose would be 300 to 600 milligrams, or 1 to 2 teaspoons dried herb, and then do that as a tea. Again, there are some places where you can get it where it's already made of tea, and you can get a lot of this stuff. I'm not positive about the of all of these, but I know that you can get like capsules, soft gels, whatever of these things that are already pretty much ready to consume. Okay. Another thing that's helpful is magnesium glycinate or citrate. Magnesium helps relax muscles and calms the nervous system. The dose there would be 200 to 400 milligrams about an hour before bedtime at the latest. Now, I use magnesium and I do it in the morning. That's part of my morning routine. I use capsules, or they're capsules. Well, they're soft gels, I guess, but not soft gels. They're like a vitamin tablet, I guess. But anyways, I do those in the morning, and you take 2 of them because the recommended dose for those is like 400, and I think it's 420 milligrams a day, I believe, is the recommended daily dose. But glycinate is especially gentle, whereas citrate is a little more harder on your system. So that's why when I get magnesium, I make sure it's got glycinate in it. Again, that's up to you. Another thing that helps is tart cherry juice. That contains a natural melatonin, and that also helps reduce inflammation, by the way, which we didn't talk about in the arthritis episode that we did. So we may have to go back and revisit that down the road. Excuse me. Um, and again, the dose for this would be about 2 to 4 ounces, not a lot, just basically a shot, before an hour or so before bedtime. And you want the unsweetened cherry juice, and you want the tart stuff. You don't want the sugary, juicy stuff. And another thing that a lot of, may not be for everybody, but CBD. And first of all, if it's legal in where you are and if it's doctor approved, it's a non psychoactive compound from hemp. It's not the stuff that gets you high or anything. A lot of people stay away from it because they think it's going to get them high and stoned and everything else, and that's not the case. I've used CBD, and I think it's great. I use the tinctures, and I take a couple drops. I mix it in with my tea or coffee or whatever, and it to me it calms the nervous system, and the recommended dose for that, excuse me, is 5 to 15 milligrams of a quality CBD oil. And when I say CBD oil, you want to make sure you're getting something decent. You don't want that crap they're selling in the gas stations and all that. You want to go to like one of those hemp stores if you have them in your area. A lot of like where I am, a lot of the tobacco stores, there's a million tobacco stores around here, and they sell all kinds of stuff like, hookahs and all that garbage, rolling papers, all the stuff that, when you were younger, you used all that stuff. But they also sell CBD. To me, what I've seen in those shops and the couple that I've been in, I don't think I would trust it. They have a couple hemp they call them hemp shops, I guess. around town here, and I've been in those, and the stuff that they carry to me is a lot more quality than what you're going to find in a gas station or a tobacco store. Excuse me. It's been a rough COPD day today. That's why I'm coughing and I'm kind of stuffed, not stuffed up, congested is the word. But anyways, and I apologize for that. But you don't need all of these things. Just try one or two consistently and see how you respond. And, a lot of this stuff isn't going to be, I don't want you to go away from this thinking it's going to work immediately. Sometimes you have to take it 3, 4, days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, sometimes even up to 14 days before you start noticing it's working. And again, I am not a doctor. I am not a psychologist. I am none of those things. I am just somebody who's done some research, and I'm just sharing what works for me. Before you do any of this stuff, I would highly recommend you go to your medical professional and explain to them what you have. The thing I have with doctors and stuff is doctors basically are treating whatever's wrong with you at the time and not the symptom. Not every doctor. I'm sweeping with a broad broom here, but most medical professionals, I think, are pushing pharmaceuticals on people and stuff, and it's not really the root cause. Whereas that's kind of why I got into natural remedies in the first place. I started thinking, gee, how did, people way back when, respond to illness and stuff? And granted, medicine has certainly come a long way over the past couple hundred years, or 1,000 years, whatever. But, people still, like, look at the Native Americans. They lived, off the land pretty much, and they didn't have pharmaceuticals, yet they pretty much cured most of, like, if not, well, not everything, but most of the things that went wrong with them, they cured with natural herbs and roots and that sort of thing. So anyways, that's why I got into it, and I'm getting off track here. But these small habits can make a huge difference in your life. Excuse me. So moving right along, things to help you with your insomnia or your sleepless nights. The first thing you want to do is try and keep a consistent sleep schedule. Irregular sleep schedule screws up with your body clock. Your body clock gets confused. One night you go to bed at 10 o'clock, the next night you go to bed at 1:30, the next night you go to bed at again back to 11:30, 2 o'clock. You need to try to keep it pretty much the same time every night, so that your body clock gets used to that and knows that when it's 9, 10, 11, whatever time you go to bed, it's time to go to bed. And again, I mentioned this earlier, you need to limit your screen time at night. Computers, phones, all the televisions, they all put out a blue light that affects your melatonin. And you want to try to put your TV, your phone, and your computer away from you for at least an hour. That's my advice. At least 1 hour before you're going to go to bed, so that your body your brain starts winding down, and you're not tricking your brain with the blue light thinking that it's still daytime. Another thing that's very, very helpful is a cool, dark bedroom. The ideal temperature for sleep is 65 to 68 degrees. If you're really having trouble, once you're in bed, try white noise or soft music. Helps with background distractions. Plus, if you're laying there and your mind's racing, if you're focused more on, listening to the white noise or the soft music, it tends to calm your brain from racing and racing and racing all night. Dim the lights early. Start winding down. Like I said, pretty much all of the stuff I've said is at least an hour before you're going to go to bed. And those things all help. There's also mental and spiritual calming tools. One of the things you can also try is deep breathing and something they call the 4-7-8 method. And with this method, what you do is you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 7, and then you exhale slowly for 8 seconds. So it's the 4-7-8 breathing method. And again, you inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and then exhale for 8. And if you repeat that a few times, that'll help calm your nervous system. Okay? Now, the next thing is gratitude or brain dump journaling. You can clear your mind by writing down worries or wins. Okay? When you go to bed at night, again, this is an hour before your bedtime, when you've turned off your computer and all that. Start writing. Read something. Read your Bible. Read something you want to read. Something, hopefully, that's not a murder drama or whatever that's going to get you wired up again. You can read a devotional. A happy book, whatever. I don't read happy books. I don't know what they are, but for me, I can read a journal. I can read the Bible. I have a lot of religious books that I can read, and those are all very calming, believe it or not. And if you're not a religious person, I know you're not going to read a Bible and read a devotional and things, but try and read something that's not like world news, that there's war and there's this and that going on and inflation and blah, blah, blah. Those are all things that are going to get your mind, going again. And you don't want that. You want to wind down, slow down, let the wagon come to a halt for the night. Release your day and your burdens to the Lord. You can also pray, again, I know not everybody's religious and not everybody even believes in God, but, excuse me, you can pray if you are inclined to do so. And a quick little prayer, something like, Lord, I release this day to you. I trust you to watch over me as I rest. Very simple. Okay? And then we have like Bible-based sleep. You can search YouTube for meditations or things like that, or Bible stories or whatever. There's some that I listen to at night. Again, I do that on my phone next to my bed, but I have it so that the screen is pointing away from me and there's no light, like keeping me up. Usually I fall asleep within 5-10 minutes. Or there's also there's things on YouTube that just read books of the Bible, audio books of the Bible, and those to me are comforting and calming and all that. So something as far as the Bible goes is in Psalm chapter 4 verse 8. There's a verse that says, "In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." That's the quick version. The real version is what you're seeing on the screen. "I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety." And that's from the King James Version. But that verse reminds us that true rest comes from trust. And even if you don't sleep perfectly tonight, know that you are watched over by a faithful God. Okay? So if this helped you, please, tap the like thing, the like button there. Hit subscribe for future episodes. Leave a comment or a prayer request if you have one. And again, I want to remind you to be sure to go back and watch episode 5 if you missed it, because that ties in directly with what we just talked about today. And the 2 episodes together, I think, will help you with, if you're somebody who's stressed out a lot, if you have a lot of anxiety and you have trouble sleeping, these 2 episodes, I think, will be great for you. And also, if you know somebody who's having problems with anxiety or sleep issues or whatever, share these videos with them. Help somebody else. That's what this is all about. We're building a community here, and we want to uplift each other with encouragement, with prayer, and with whatever works for us. Okay? So, The next episode, the next time you see me, we're going to dive into brain fog. You know, forgetfulness, fuzzy thinking, lack of focus. Like sometimes I'll walk into the kitchen and as soon as I get in there, I'm like, why did I come in here? That never used to happen. I call them senior moments, but I don't want that to get any more serious. And I'm kidding about it, but I really fear getting Alzheimer's because my dad died from that. And just to watch him from what he was to what he went to in the very end was horrible, and it made me think that's got to be one of the most frightful ways to die when you lose your whole mind. You don't know who anybody is. It's got to be terrifying. But anyways, we'll talk about that another time. I don't want to bum everybody out now, especially we're talking about going to sleep. So I don't want to get everybody, but that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about brain fog, fuzzy thinking, lack of focus. We're going to explore what causes it and how to clear it on episode 7, which is going to be called Clearing the Fog, Natural Fixes for Mental Clarity. So watch for it next week. You aren't going to want to miss it if you are having trouble sleeping, or if you're having trouble with brain fog, or what I call brain fog. And that's pretty much it. So thanks again for watching Life After 55. And remember, we're building a community here to help others with the same issues we may be experiencing, and to lift each other up with encouragement and with prayer. So if you yourself or know of anybody that needs prayer, or if there's something you'd like to see me cover here, leave a comment. Where's down there? You can tell I'm still new at this, but hopefully in the next few episodes I have this down to a science. Anyhow, leave a comment down below, or you can send me an email. The email address is going to be down below as well. I do read them. I read the emails I get, and I do pray for people, and I've got time to pray for people, and so don't be shy, don't be bashful. I keep it confidential. I don't spread it around who's got whatever issue. We all have them. Okay, so don't feel like whatever is unique to you. It's not. Everybody's got problems. So let's keep walking this journey toward healing and toward hope together. Okay? So thank you for watching, and we will see you next time on Life After 55. So this is Roy, signing out till next time. Oh, by the way, I've finally gotten this on. This is Thursday. I don't know if you hear the air conditioner in the background. It's loud to me, but it's been very hot these last few days where I am, and the air conditioner's pretty much been running on and off nonstop for the last 3 days. But what I was going to say was, remember I said I would get a video out once a week? This time it's on time. So kudos to me. Anyhow, hope you guys got something out of this, and hope you'll join me again next time. Okay? Till then, take care, sleep well, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.